Welcome to Spectrum Days, the podcast where we ruin our childhood memories of games we used to play with me, Chris, and my cousin Phil.
Hello, I have a cold.
Hello. Oh, well, I'm glad you're far away from me then.
Yeah,
I've already had one cold this year, and that's enough.
This is my annual cold. I only plan on having one. That's it.
So, what game are we going to try and remember today?
I'm quietly confident about this one.
It's daily. It's daily, right? It's a bit of daily.
No, it's not a bit of daily. We were talking about doing Daily Thompsons, but we're going to disappoint you all. We're going to do Desert Strike. It's got the same letter in it. Daily Thompson, Desert Strike. It's alliterative. It's a similar game. No, it's not. It's totally different. Yeah, it's good old Desert Strike. Return to the Gulf.
This didn't even come out on the Spectrum.
No, it didn't. I'm sure some enterprising person out there is probably doing it right now. They're going to bring it out on the Spectrum just to spite us, just as this podcast goes live.
So tell us a bit about Desert Strike.
Oh, Desert Strike. This is quite a sort of, one I remember rather fondly, actually. This came out in 92, which is just when I was starting in the games industry, buying and selling games in a market stall all those years ago when I was young. I would have been 17, so my first job after leaving school. So this all came out that same year. And Desert Strike, it was a shoot 'em up. Helicopter type shoot 'em up, isometric, which is actually a lot of games back then were sort of isometric, particularly on the sort of computers and things like that. It was sort of a popular alternative of sort of, I suppose nowadays it would be sort of the equivalent sort of 3D type game. So the isometric meant you could sort of move anywhere on the screen. So instead of sort of a vertical or horizontal shooter, the isometric type, flying around in a helicopter, came out on pretty much everything, but it was an EA game and came on the Megadrive first, and that's where I knew it, and that's where I played it. Popular game.
I think the reason we decided on it, there was a couple of reasons, but one, we started talking about Choplifter, which I've got really good fond memories of as well. But then as soon as we mentioned Choplifter, we went straight onto this. And I think it was because we were looking for a great game. And I think this one's actually going to be good. It's still going to be good playing it now. I can think this is the one. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And I was just thinking, so if it came out in March 92, I wasn't yet 18, still living at home. And again, this would have been producer John's game. I'm pretty sure we had it. I'm pretty sure, well, he had it. And I guess I should have been studying for my some exams or something, I guess, at that age. And I clearly must have been playing too much Desert Strike.
Very probably.
Yeah.
But you did have the Amiga, though. Did you not have the Amiga?
Yeah. I had the Amiga. Yeah. So if
it did come out on the Amiga, but I had some trouble finding out exact sort of dates, because in fact even the 92 I'm a bit surprised at, and if anyone watching this can clear that up, it said Europe and America that it came out in March of 92. Now that was pretty unusual back then for us to get games at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
As the US. Well, I'm in the UK. Chris is over there in America, but obviously we were both in the UK at the time. That was really unusual. So either my research is incorrect or not complete. And the other weird thing is it then came out in Japan in like 93. So, which is sort of a complete reversal. Obviously, the majority of the games back then, or certainly the good games, and were made over in Japan, and then they'd sort of come out in America, then perhaps in sort of Europe, the PAL regions. But this appears to be, as I say, as it was an EA game, which is an American company, Trip Hawkins company, it came out there and here at the same time, which really odd. So if I'm wrong, please do let us know on that one. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, for all the young people listening, who are used to having things dropping on youth.
dropping on streaming platforms on exactly the same day everywhere around the world, that just wasn't a thing. We'd have to be waiting for months in half a year sometimes to get a game in the UK. So that does sound strange, and I can't remember playing it on the Amiga whatsoever. And I played most games, not that I can remember them, but I played a lot of games that came out on the Amiga. And PSP, I don't think I did have a PSP. Didn't see this on the PSP.
Right. I would have played it. I mean, obviously, as I say, EA were making games for the Megadrive and Genesis, really. I mean, they're more famous, I suppose, for their sport titles. Yeah. I'm sure anyone who's aware of that sort of thing will know that's really what they were up to.
EA Darts was great.
Yeah, that was a good one. EA Tiddlywinks, it's one of my favourites.
Yeah,
you could buy the special Tiddlywink pad that went with it. The 4-player, everyone sat around the Tiddlywink pad of an evening playing 4-player Tiddlywinks. GoldenEye didn't get a look in once that came out, I tell you. EA Sports, it's down the drain. Yeah, those were great days. But it did come out on the Super Nintendo as well, and there's me talking about the shop. Well, we would have had both of those, obviously the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo, as far as it appearing in the shop when I was selling these games secondhand. We weren't doing Amiga stuff, so I wouldn't have seen it on there by then. It did come out later on the Master System, which I don't actually remember. I suspect it's another one of those titles that would have been quite late in the life of Master System by then. I do remember it on the Game Boy. I might even have had it or played it at one time. Game Gear presumably was just the same version as the Master System. Again, don't remember it. PSP, apparently it came out on the NES. That really blows my mind. I find that hard to believe, but there we are. And DOS, obviously, PC stuff back then was starting to get a bit more popular, starting to get a few more of the games that were coming out on Mega Drive and Super Nintendo were appearing on DOS as well.
Yeah, no, I've played it on the Mega Drive, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. It spawned a whole series, the Strike series, as it's called. There was a whole load of them. Jungle Strike, Urban Strike, Soviet Strike, and Nuclear Strike. Again, they were all good. They sort of varied in quality, and everyone sort of got their favourites, one they hate and one they really, really like within the series. But they were all good quality. And yeah, I just remember them. They never stayed around very long in the shop when any of them came in. They were always sought after. It was always a sort of title people would come in and ask for. And also the sort of title people would put their name down for, which was something we started doing sort of a bit later on in the shop's life, where we would sort of just take people's details, and if it came in, we'd, reserve it for them. It was one of those ones that never hung around the shop, and we always knew if we bought it, we could sell it well. So yeah, a popular game. And the reviews, I mean, blimey, 90% average in most of the sort of magazines and things when looking online to see what reviews it got. So it reviewed well and did well with the general public.
What do you remember about it? What do you remember when you were playing it? What comes to mind?
I think the sort of viewpoint, and it was interesting doing the research for this, the guy that came up with it, talking about the camera, the way he developed the camera, and it was the movement of the helicopter and it being the isometric viewpoint. People really don't know what I mean by isometric. It's not something that's very popular, I don't suppose, anymore, that type of viewpoint. It's sort of, instead of it being top down, say like, I don't know, the original Grand Theft Auto was sort of top down, but you had inertia in the cars and the way they moved and the way the screen followed where the camera, the in-game camera, followed the main vehicle that you'd be using in GTA. Well, this is like that, but slightly turned on an angle. So you're not quite looking at the sides of everything, and you're not like quite looking down on top of everything. It was that movement, and there was an inertia. The physics of the game, it felt like you were flying a heavy object around the screen. rather than it being a floaty object like in a racing game sometimes when they're a bit floaty and the physics aren't very realistic and it feels like you're just flying around the course. The helicopter had a certain weight to it, which was unusual in a game for them to get something like that where it felt right.
Right. So
not that I have any idea what it's like to fly a helicopter. Obviously, I'm not saying that it's like flying a helicopter.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Okay. Yeah,
as a helicopter pilot, this felt quite realistic to you, right?
Royal Navy flying helicopters. I know all about it.
No, I think you'll find you're a complete liar. Yes. That helicopter used in that Desert Strike video game computer home system thing that you keep talking about, you horrible little spotty oink, is green. And it's the AH-64 Apache from the US Army, also used by the Israeli Air Force. But we don't talk about that. You don't know anything about naval ships. I'm on a naval ship now. Mine's grey. The one in the game is green. You don't know anything. You haven't got a clue. Anyway, Desert Strike. I was there. I completed it.
Okay. That's why I'm allowed to grow a beard and drink rum.
But
I was a Navy pilot.
Yeah, and the idea was that you had to go and rescue people and drop a ladder, and people will run up the ladder, like in Choplifter, right?
Well, yeah, this is the other weird thing. We were talking about Choplifter, and then, as you say, we decided no, we'll look at Desert Strike in the next video. But then researching it, I didn't know this back in the day, but researching it, the designer, Mike Posehn, Posehn, I don't know how you say that surname. Really weird. He didn't have any experience in making games, but I think he had done stuff for EA. And he made, I think it's called Video Maker or something for the Amiga. So he'd done sort of what nowadays we call sort of apps or, utility type software stuff. So he'd never made a game, but he'd been thinking about doing a game. He'd made a basic flight sim sort of engine. And I think showed it to Trip Hawkins, or Trip Hawkins saw it and basically said, look, we were thinking of doing, something along the lines of sort of Choplifter. He suggested Choplifter as an influence. So it got changed from very much straight on normal flight sim type game to, well, what you see in Desert Strike, but with that mixture of, blowing up a base, finding your guys, they all come out, you lower the helicopter. I think do you lower the helicopter in this, or do you lower a line down?
Lower a line down, I think.
I think you lower a line. I think in Choplifter you land, don't they, and they get in. With this, I think you lower a line or ladder or something, and they get in. So I had it seems obvious now, but I had no idea at the time that it was influenced by Choplifter.
Yeah.
And as I say, but suggested by Trip Hawkins, the Mr. EA.
Yeah.
Apparently they used 3D modeling to make the vehicles. So again, you saying about what to remember about it. I remember it looked great. It felt great. The sound was brilliant. Had lots of really good explosions, lots of sort of different weapons, and it was strategic. It wasn't like, I don't know, Thunder Force 4 or Herzog 2 or any of the other sort of shooters on the Mega Drive, which had a lot of good shooters on the Mega Drive. This was much more sort of thoughtful. It was slower paced. You couldn't you weren't racing around, and of course you could do it how you wanted it. You could. It wasn't a linear.
Oh, okay,
that's the word. You could go. You could sort of do things in different order and go around. Obviously, there was a better order to do things in, like destroying. You'd start off from your base, go into the enemy area, destroy the gun turrets, perhaps that were guarding whatever it is you were trying to get to, or there'd be some sort of gun emplacements. And there'd also be. It wasn't all just vehicles, so there'd be men on the ground or on tops of buildings shooting at you. I'm probably going to start mixing all these different things together, Jungle Strike and Urban Strike, and I'm picturing men on tops of buildings with rocket launchers. That was probably Urban Strike or something. But as is the point of our podcast, the first half is we talk about these things and try and remember, and then the second half we will actually play the game. So we'll know then. But yeah, I can picture lots of things. I'm sure from the different various releases of this Strike series.
Yeah, it was. But now you're talking about it, I'm beginning to think it might have been hard. I didn't think.
Fear not, because we're going to be playing it on the Mega Drive Mini too.
I thought at the beginning it was going to be a nice one. It's not the Spectrum. Like I keep saying, the Spectrum games give me this nice kind of feeling. Whilst the Mega Drive games have given me
the willies. Would you rather play Shinobi again?
No.
Should we look at Altered Beast?
No, for sure. No. Daily Thompson Decathlon. That's where we wanted to go.
We should have done. Why did we not stick to our remit of doing Spectrum game? You said, no, I want to look at whatever it is we're doing.
Sometimes in life you get kind of distracted by all the shiny kind of new looking stuff, right? So this game looks like an advancement over the Spectrum games, but then sometimes you need to go back to what makes you feel comfortable. When was the A600 released? Because I think I may have had the A600 then.
What, that one I bought off you?
Yeah. She then sold.
I did offer it back to you.
I know. I should have taken it off.
And why didn't you buy it back? Because your wife would kill you.
I said to him, Christopher, you bring one more computer in this house, me and Bernice are going to leave. You'll never see the two of us ever again. I mean, look at this place. It's a mess. I do my best, I really do. But, it was fine when it was just the consoles, But now, every single computer under the sun, an Apple I, an Apple II, Macintosh, a Dragon, a C64, ZX81, Spectrum 48 and 16K. I mean, I just can't cope. There's no room. I mean, me and Bernice, we're sleeping on top of serial ports. Anyway, Desert Strike. It's all right.
I'm not allowed anymore. Gadgets.
No, your actual words. Yeah, that was your words. Yeah, you're not allowed any more tech in the house. I think that was the word.
They should make those mini consoles even more mini.
They have. It's called a Raspberry Nano.
No. Even smaller than that, like pen drives.
A Raspberry Nano? What do you want it inserted into your head?
Well, yeah, that would be a good way. Yeah. Yes, and if they could just all use the same joypad, that would be good.
You're
talking about that. Socket. Can you remember the keys for this game?
X, Y, Z, P, Q. He says, looking down at his keyboard. No, I don't. But I guarantee the moment you play it, you'll press the wrong button. You'll release one of your rockets. One of the 3 rockets. Instead of the machine gun.
Yeah, it's a console game. Yeah, there'll be one button you'll only have one rocket. Yeah, it'll be on a button that I'll press straight away.
I think you're supposed to. I think you pick up extra weapons. Also, it's got a fuel. You've got fuel. So you've got to watch your fuel, I seem to remember.
Oh, so that's like a forced time limit.
That's what's going to have you.
So they ripped that right out of Manic Miner.
The Manic Miner playbook.
Yeah.
Instead of holding your breath, you've got to keep hold of your fuel.
Trip Hawkins is playing Manic Miner. I'm going to rip that game mechanic out, a time limit, and I'm just going to say it's fuel.
I'm not sure that Manic Miner was much of an influence on Desert Strike.
I don't know. I bet Sir Clive's had some stories about that.
Probably. He'll let us know now, I'm sure, fairly sure.
Hello, boys and girls. It's your Uncle Clive here. Those clever chaps over at Spectrum Days, the podcast, wanted me to do a public service announcement about the dangers of helicopters. Yes, they can be quite dangerous, although they do look fun. I'd stay at home and use your ZX Spectrum to play a nice helicopter simulator like this one, Cyclone. And for added super realism, you could use a joystick, like the one I'm using here. In fact, I've got two, for both hands. So yes, stay away from helicopters. Stay at home and play your ZX Spectrum. Only pop out when you're going to W.H. Smith's or Menzies to buy more games. And avoid women. They can be quite difficult too. Bye.
This originally was going to be called Beirut Breakout, which doesn't sound any more politically correct than Desert Strike, does it, really? Return to the Gulf. I don't know if we've mentioned that. It's actually Desert Strike Return to the Gulf.
Yeah.
I think looking at my research, they were making the game at the time when they were writing it. They wanted to put in a lot more sort of things like in was it Shinobi that they were talking about? So the sort of cutscenes and things like that, which I think they had to cut one of them either when it was in America or either when it came over to Europe. I think there's a scene of torture, I think,
right,
in it, either in this one or one of the follow-ups. I can't remember. But there was, I do remember, and as I say, I was working in a shop selling these games at that time, and there was a considerable fuss about its name and its subject matter, obviously because we'd had or were still having the Gulf. When did the Gulf War end? Did it start 1990, something like that, the first Gulf War? I think it certainly went through into 91. Whether it made it into 92 or not, I don't know. Good Lord, I wish you could see this, folks. You've got two people now furiously tapping away at the keyboard, leaping, practically leapt to the keyboard. Because we all remember, we were there, but we don't remember. A bit like the raves. I was there, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
Has one of you found out?
I don't remember being. We just played this as a game, right? I don't think did we really kind of think what was going on? But yeah, it was
didn't. No, we didn't. But what it was in the news, there was a fuss around it. There were parents who wouldn't let the kids have it, particularly, I think, if they were perhaps involved in the military or knew someone in the military, because the press, they like to make it sound like it's bad. That it's somehow mocking the military, or I don't know what they were thinking, but I do remember there was a fuss around it. I think it was the first time I'd heard a real fuss around a game in that way, not because of its content, but because of its name and what it implied. There obviously being games where there might, say, be nudity in it or something specific in the game, but this was more the zeitgeist at the time was that it was about a conflict that really was sort of still going on, in the sense that it was, still being dealt with. But they were right. I think they were writing it. They were right. They were writing it, basing it around the whole Beirut thing. I don't think they were basing it on this. But I think they said when they were writing it, they suddenly realised, oh my God, this is. What they were writing as the script, in inverted commas, for it was suddenly what was happening. So they were making it around the time of the war, I think.
So it must have been a marketing thing to try and take benefit of an ongoing war. Because from 1990 to 1991, they couldn't have developed it that quick. So as you say, they were basing it on some kind of story of rescuing hostages in Beirut.
Yeah, Beirut.
And then because there's a war, change the name. Using a war as marketing, so it's a little bit suspect, right? I mean, that is a bit...
No, it's fine. Can't see anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, I think people would be a bit more sensitive today about doing something like that.
But if they brought out Ukraine Strike, I assume that
imagine that.
People would not be happy.
but we're going to concentrate on how rubbish we are playing in this game. I expect that's the gist of ours. I'll probably turn around and say, actually, maybe I never really played it that much because John didn't ever let me play it. There he is in the background.
Isn't every game back then in those days though? back, I say those days, right at the Spectrum days, they were all war, weren't they? They were all shooting games.
Can you remember a game on the Amiga, Dogs of War?
Dogs of War.
A commando kind of one. You kind of run in. That was great. Yeah.
Look at Operation Wolf. I mean, that you're literally given a gun and you're shooting army people in the face. I mean,
oh yeah. And what about the music? Can you remember the music at all? I can't myself.
I loved it. He goes down, 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 down,
That's Airwolf. Airwolf. That was Airwolf. That's on the Spectrum.
Is that Airwolf?
Yeah, I think so. Can we
I thought I was singing Desert Strike by Rob Hubbard, obviously. I'm mistaken.
Well, you say that. I mean, I can't remember the music, but if it was by Rob Hubbard, it's got to be amazing. Because I loved his like on the Commodore 64. I think he did IK Plus. His music was just great. But now you made me. But now you made me think of a far superior game, Airwolf. No.
Oh,
Airwolf on the Spectrum. Yeah,
Airwolf
I think you had to
Spectrum.
go through like that cape.
No, we are not. We're not doing Airwolf on the.
Was there a Blue?
I'd rather do Ghostbusters.
Did they make Blue Thunder as well? Because there was Airwolf. I remember on the TV there was Airwolf and Blue Thunder at more or less the same time.
And Manimal,
Automan.
Automan was brilliant.
Yeah.
I loved Automan. That was great. I don't think he got a game, did he? Did he get a game?
I don't think so. And I don't think Manimal did.
Street Hawk.
Street Hawk. He got a game. There was a game. There was a Street Hawk game. Must have been a Street Hawk game.
That was Street Hawk. I don't think that was Rob Hubbard, though. The Rob Hubbard soundtrack on Desert Strike is phenomenal. It's one of those games where it really takes advantage of that grungy metal guitar, rock guitar sound that you only get out of that. What is the sound chip that's in is it Yamaha something?
Kawasaki Ninja 500.
No, Google it. It's the Yamaha. I think it's the Yamaha sound chip, isn't it? That's in the Mega Drive, and it does really good guitar, that sort of heavy, grungy guitar sound. Because you get quite a gritty sound with the Mega Drive. There's a Super Nintendo could do that orchestral, really clear, crisp sort of sound that the Mega Drive. It was always a bit more crunchy. So with sound effects or speech, it was always a bit. Sorry, producer, you're going to think that was a mistake. It's not. It's me actually making the accurate imitation of how the Mega Drive sounds. So yeah, if you compare the two, which I'll try and do in the video if I can, between the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive. That sound, that guitar sound on the Mega Drive version, it's brilliant. Rob Hubbard is a god. He's up there with Tim Folin, I reckon. And I would have to give it to Tim Folin if it was going to be a competition.
So what you just performed?
Oh, sole mio.
So what you just performed really was the soundtrack for. That guitar medley you did. You keep slipping into Airwolf.
Do, 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 do. That kind of, how does Airwolf go?
Well, I keep all I want to do is play Airwolf now on the ZX Spectrum.
Yeah, I always want to watch Airwolf, an Automan.
Yeah, imagine that. Why don't they make
No.
TV shows like that anymore? Airwolf.
An A-Team. Manimal. How does Manimal go? I'll give you a tenner if you do the impression of how Manimal goes.
I've got no idea.
100 quid.
I specialise in Spectrum games. The soundtracks.
Yes. Yes.
Well, they're all the same, more or less.
We played Manic Miner. How does Manic Miner go? If you've forgotten already.
If you've forgotten how Manic Miner goes, look up our previous episode and
go and watch our other video.
Yeah, go and watch Manic Miner.
Well, look, I'm looking forward to this because I've been cucking you and making you not play the Mega Drive Mini 2 just in case you were going to use it. So now here's your opportunity to plug it in and fire her up.
I do genuinely think this is going to be actually a good game.
Yeah, I'll put money on it. I really liked it. I really liked the series. Yeah. And a big fan of Choplifter. Big fan of Choplifter too.
Yeah, but none of them as good as Airwolf.
No. Can't hold a patch to Airwolf. Right then, folks. We're going to bugger off for a few days and go and try and find the Mega Drive Mini 2s that we both bought months ago and now don't know where they are and plug them in. We're going to concentrate on playing the Mega Drive version, but obviously it is available on various different other things. So I might find it on the Super Nintendo and other places as well. So if you're watching the video, you might see a bit of footage from all of them. If I can find some way for you guys to play it online that's easy for you, I'll put a link below. If not, you'll just have to make your own way there. So yeah, give it a go. It'll only be a few seconds for you, the magic of editing, but it'll be a few days for us while we go off and play Desert Strike. So join us then, and we'll see what we think of Desert Strike: Return to the Gulf. And we're back. Welcome to part 2 of Spectrum Days, where we're looking at Desert Strike. Thank you for pausing if you did. If you didn't, there's still time now. You can press pause on whatever it is you happen to be listening to or watching it on. And if you're on YouTube, you can go below and play the game. Did you play it? Did you play along? In fact, there probably isn't a link below because I don't think you can play this one online. You probably have to play it on some sort of device, which is what we use. We played it on the Mega Drive Mini 2. Chris, I believe, used the Mini Mega Drive Genesis 2 Mini, or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's a lot different. It had a plug. Mine came with a plug.
That was the only difference.
Remember.
But that's the machine, not the game. So come on then. What were your thoughts the moment you turned on Desert Strike?
It's really boring.
Oh, okay, and join us next week. So that's it. That's your sum total of information for our lovely listeners. That's your feeling, is it? It was boring.
I mean, that's my feeling. That's the feeling. We can go through the game, but my general overall feeling was that it was a bit bland, a bit boring.
Why?
I think it's because there's no sound effects for the chopper blades.
There is. It's just very, very quiet. Yeah.
Really?
Can you not hear it? Yeah.
Really? I know I'm going a little bit deaf, but it's just...
Yeah,
really? Oh, wait a minute. It might be really exciting now. Then,
do you know what?
If there is
it's
chopper,
funny you say that.
There's chopper blades.
No music while you're playing, which is quite
it
unusual.
just feels
isn't it?
like
for a sort of a shoot 'em up, you feel like you need a bit of, you got that. I mean, when you turn it on, that Rob Hubbard theme tune at the beginning, I think we mentioned it. Yeah, it is fantastic. It's really good. But then in game, there's nothing. You got the cutscenes. But the actual game, it is pretty quiet. It's a quiet game.
Yeah, kind of like, relaxing killing soldiers and blowing things up.
Relaxing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's relaxing. I don't know, relaxing. There's not much tension. There's not much tension.
There is when you're running out of fuel.
There's not much tension. Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, so what did you think about it in general?
This is a really quite difficult one for me. I only realised it. I was just saying it before we came on air. I don't think I actually owned this. For those of you who are joining the podcast fresh, and perhaps this is the first one you've listened to, or you haven't picked it up from the other ones, I used to buy and sell games for a living. That's what I used to do for a long time, which meant I got to play a lot of games, but not necessarily own them. So, but this is one I now realise after having played it now on the Mini 2, the little Megadrive emulation box things we both bought, that this isn't one I owned. I only ever played it in the shop. And I think I understand what Chris is saying. I didn't find it boring, but I found that it's a very, excuse me, I still have a cold. It's not it's not really a shoot 'em up, not in the way that I would normally describe a shoot 'em up on the Mega Drive when you think of like Thunder Force 4 or something like that. The quite speedy, fast shoot 'em ups with the rocking music that's going the whole time you're playing it, be it sort of EDM type music or rock music that you had on the Mega Drive whilst blasting away. It's not a blaster, it's not a shoot 'em up. This is really what I'd call a tactical shooter, which I'm not sure we'd call it back then. We'd probably would have. What do you think I was going to say?
Yeah, I thought you were going to call it a simulator. I was getting ready for all my comments.
It is a simulator as well.
Can we pretend you did call it a simulator?
Okay. It is a simulator because you start on a ship,
just like Space Harrier.
You have to. It's really complicated to get off that ship. You got to perform quite a complicated maneuver with realistic physics. And I like at the beginning of the game where it gives you the option to turn off those realistic physics, doesn't it? The what's it called? Do you see that in the options? What's it? The motion, something or other. I can't remember what it is, but it's sort of the way it swings.
I didn't see
around.
that. That's one of the cool. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's full of cool things. The way the ship moves is cool. What's not cool is that they didn't spend any money on a tutorial. They spent it all on that cutscene. They spent it all on the cutscene. And it's like, I can imagine all the project managers and like the artists. Yeah, let's do this cutscene. You know, he's got like a slap. Someone gets slapped in the and there's someone's being tortured over a barrel of boiling.
Now, was that included in there?
Oil or whatever.
I thought was different. That was included. Did she go all the way in?
Yeah. No, it's a bloke, I think, and the evil guy turns to the camera and looks at you.
There's a woman on this one.
No, well, there's a news reporter, and she says like, oh, the president can't risk sending in a full strike force. He's going to send in a chopper, and this chopper commander must be great.
Oh, it says helicopter in the English.
But then I could just imagine them all going, yeah, this will be really cool. And then the project manager probably said, now we should do a tutorial so people know how to play the game. And they all said, nah, we're going to make more video cutscenes. And because you do, well, at least when I played it, I took it off from the aircraft carrier. And then you don't know where to go.
Got a map?
Yeah, you have to press start to open up the map.
It is quite a distance from where your thumb is to the start. I get why that would be hard. Yeah, I get it.
Over-reliable. But you had to know that you had to press start. I mean, I did guess, but I had first of all spent 3 minutes.
3 minutes without using the map?
Out of sea. But I got all the way. Oh, yeah, I was like flying off until I reached the edge of the screen, which is to the far left, let's say, to the far west and to the far north, which is completely the wrong way. And you'll suddenly get to the end of the game.
You must have
get to the end of the game, and you just
like as soon as you got there.
No, it's not that big, and you just like bang into a invisible barrier, No, okay. So the land must be the other way, and I did find land. It wasn't for a few minutes till I found that there was the start button. I mean, I didn't even think about bringing. Should have had a tutorial.
Yeah, but games back then came with instructions, and we would have read the instructions. Man, it doesn't need a tutorial
On the way home,
really,
you would have read the
game, Chris. It's really not.
It needed a bit of a tutorial.
No, it didn't. It really didn't.
Well, I mean, to really get ourselves into the mindset, what have we got to do?
Well, I think
print the instructions. Have we got to print the instructions? Yeah. Drive to a shop. Get someone else to drive us to a shop, pretending we're kids. Sit in the back seat. You're on the way home. You're unwrapping. You get in the box and get the instructions out. Reading the instructions so you know exactly what to do when you get home and plug it in.
You want the whole experience, man.
I suppose in the future I could just press start.
Yeah, with any game though.
In
from now on,
games.
Press start. See what you get.
Well, yeah, Revenge of Shinobi. You had to press
to do your
start
magic
as well, didn't you?
Yeah. See, you're missing the trend, man. You should have known.
Well, maybe it's because, and again, maybe that's why I don't have that nice warm feeling about this game, like as I do with the Spectrum ones, because I also did not own it. And if anyone owned it, it would have been John. And he says that he can't really remember it. That could be because he's getting old. I'm pretty sure he did have it, but we could have borrowed it off someone. Who knows?
Be the episode
I'm pretty sure I played it.
If you keep insulting him like that, this might be the one.
He should be talking about this game. But yeah, I sat through the video intro, expected a tutorial, didn't get a tutorial. Did find, and like I say, there's lots of cool things, like the way the ship moves, the momentum of the ship, the way the helicopter moves, the momentum of it is really cool. I like the way it swings around.
It's realistic. It's a simulator.
Yeah, just like Space Harrier, and
Shinobi, which is a ninja simulator.
Ninja Simulator, yeah. Last time I went ninjaing, it was just like Shinobi, yeah. But yeah, there's lots of, so as I was saying, there's lots of cool things, like the little sprites for the soldiers, the enemy soldiers, and your own MIA guys that you're picking up. That's all cool. All the animations really cool.
It does look great. Good. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's kind of great, but it's just didn't have much tension. That was the thing. Did you change Copilot?
No, I didn't even know you could. Oh,
God. Oh, jeez. Oh, it doesn't need a tutorial. if it had a tutorial, you would have known.
I just didn't read them.
Sir, the men are requesting a tutorial to help us fight the battle.
No, you must do it alone.
Maybe instruction book?
Didn't you go off in the car, unwrap it, and look at the instructions?
No, because I know how to play it. I knew the experience that I was going to get because I remembered it. and that it's a simulator. As simulators, they all play the same simulator. Chopper simulator games. They all play like this.
Did you? So you missed out on changing.
What does that do? What does the Copilot do? Has he got better grapple skills and better ladder skill? See, it's all coming back to me now. Yep. I did used to play it a lot, but I mean, I hope my old boss isn't listening. I used to play it in the shop quite a lot.
Well, apparently, so better accuracy with the guns. So. And at the beginning, you can choose between, I think, 3 different co-pilots. I tried the first standard co-pilot, and I also tried the Australian female co-pilot.
You did.
Gunner, I guess, or co-pilot or gunner. And there are some that seem to be locked. So, because I was going to say there isn't much kind of progression in the game, because for me, it's almost a shame that you get all the weapons at the beginning, because at least you'd have something to strive for. Hey, like, unlock this weapon, bigger power-ups or something, but there doesn't seem to be any power-ups. The only thing I can see of it being like some kind of progression is that you can unlock different co-pilots. So maybe later levels become a little bit more hectic with a lot more enemy on screen. So then you upgrade your co-pilot so they can shoot better. So it evens it all out, kind of thing. But I didn't see that. What did you find? Did you find anything particularly annoying about the game?
No, not really. I know what you're saying by sort of describing it as boring. I think I found it less boring than boring, which I think is
on a scale of 1 to 10 on the new Spectrum Days
boring scale.
Boring scale.
Which is a sliding scale. It's a peters off at the end towards about 6. It just goes.
Phil says 6.
I think for me, I think like I was sort of starting to say that for me it is slightly different. Because I'm recording what I'm doing for the video, and then editing the video and what have you, I'm not finding a huge amount of time to spend a lot of time on playing the game. So for me, the feeling I have is of whether a game is sort of good or not is whether I want to return to it outside of recording, say, for half an hour, 45 minutes to record footage for the thing. I don't know whether you did play it for longer than that, but I literally, for the purposes of this, I played it once and played it for about 45 minutes to record footage. I will then be playing Jungle Strike and the other games, which people are probably looking at now as we speak, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, because I want to show the other games in the series. But after recording the footage for this one, I got off the first level and onto the second level. I didn't want to play any more than what I played. I used the function on the Megadrive Mini to save state on level 2, so that if I want to, I can at least start from where I finished off.
Right.
But it's like one giant fetch quest. You go out, you choose, like Chris says, you press start, you can rotate between a load of functions at the bottom which show you where various things are on the map, your fuel, your I don't know, people, the MIA, people that are missing, the
fuel, weapons,
and various sort of things, and then the actual missions, the thing you've got to go. And the missions are: here's this thing, go and destroy it. Well done, you've completed it.
Yeah.
Here's this thing, which is then like an airfield. Go and destroy all the airplanes on the airfield and the buildings. Then it's go and destroy this other thing, and then it's blow up this building and rescue the men that come out of it. It just felt a bit like it's the same every single time. I don't remember it feeling that, and I'm going to use your phrase, boring, when I played it back in the 90s. But I don't remember it being. But I almost, by the time I'd got to level 2, I just thought, it's just the same. It's slightly harder, slightly different layout in level 2. But like you say, there was nothing there. There was no major attraction to really reel me in back to playing it again. I am going to be really intrigued to see whether I find Jungle Strike, which I think was the second one. I think it's Urban Strike, Soviet Strike, whatever. It'd be interesting to see whether those sorts of things have been addressed and whether they do mix it up. Because don't forget, this was the first game in the series. It may well be that the others are better, but I do totally understand what you're saying. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed playing it, but it really was, that was enough for now, and not like some of the other games we looked at where it's enough. I now do not need to play it ever again. But that stint, that 45-minute stint that I did, the footage that people, I say, will have looked at, that was enough. I didn't feel like playing it immediately again or the next day, if you see what I mean.
I feel that you learn the basic mechanics and the control of the game, there isn't much to master. There's not much skill. It's not like there's a new part and you master something else and you get rewarded for it, and you feel to create that kind of loop. And it just feels like, okay, once you can maneuver and fire, it's just patience. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to attack this airfield. Let's make sure I go behind the turrets before they turn around and shoot me, blow them up, etc. Then it gets to a bit. There's the slight kind of randomness when you destroy some buildings. There'll be a guy with a rocket launcher, like a golden kind of rifle hiding. Oh no! This time there is one of those, and it annoyed me quite often when I would then blow one of those buildings up, and it would have a bonus weapons crate or something in it, and I would accidentally destroy it because I shot too many times. So that was kind of like the only. It's not a loot box, I guess. That's a kind of variable reward, a kind of randomness in those. You would blow the building up and you might get rewarded or you might get punished, being a bad guy or weapons in there. I am pretty notoriously terrible with sense of direction. So, for example, when you choose the mission and you go and destroy the airfields or whatever, I'd have to, quickly look at the maps again to find my way. And you think, would it have hurt to put kind of an arrow on screen, just to show me, okay, I've selected this mission, just show me where I'm going, or some kind of radar on the screen. That would have been quite cool. I think if
people are watching this on YouTube, they will be very, very annoyed. It's not a fun game to watch because I am pressing that map every 30 seconds.
Right.
I'm the same. You have to keep pressing it, and also incidental items that you need to pick up on the way. It's a lot about resource management. The way you're getting around the map. Your fuel really does not last very long. You can't take many hits. True. And the way you get armor back is by picking up your own men that are on the field and taking them back to the base. That's the only way you can sort of replenish things, is by making sure you see on the map where these things are. Is there going to be enough ammo between me and the next objective? Is there going to be enough fuel between me and the next objective? So you're constantly looking at the map, because you're not just looking at it, say, right, where do I need to go next? You're looking at it to see where your bloody resources are as well. So I did find I was constantly going to the map. I don't think that's just you. I think that's pretty much how the game is played, unless you've played it so much that you know where everything is on that first stage. And the second stage, you can have to really,
and you can follow the roads, but if you follow the roads, you'll get sentries and cars that go along those roads, and I think they respawn as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure about that.
Sometimes they felt as if they were.
How far did you get? Did you go on to the second?
No,
you didn't. No, of course you didn't.
I take it very seriously, and I played for a long time. How long
did you play it for, Chris? Please be honest.
Well, there was the 15 minutes where I couldn't find the actual land. I was just flying around the sea. And then I pressed start. No. I mean, I'm still rubbish. I mean, it might have been boring and bland, but I was still rubbish at it, I guess. It's like I haven't got the patience for it. It's like I put plow in head first at the power station or whatever, bam, 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 and they had those big kind of rocket launchers, land to air rocket launchers destroyed me. So no, I didn't complete it.
You complete it.
No.
So did you get to the second level?
No. So that's one for our YouTube comments.
So I mean, the second level
didn't even get to the second level.
The second level, it's basically the same corner of that piece of land. Right. But you're then given 3 places where you can land, so 3 bases. Right. But it seems to be that items are more sparse. So that tactic, the requirement to really resource manage is bumped up. So I know you were saying about it, the process of the game doesn't really change. You don't, there's no sort of particular change. Well, in that second level, it does do that, which obviously is making it more harder. Like in any game, a second level, you're moving up a level, things tend to get harder. but it's increases the, I don't know, perhaps the geekiness of it, that you have to play it as a tactical game. It's not a shooter. And like you just said, you haven't got the patience. You wanted to go in, there's the target, blam, 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 bugger, all my weapons have gone, or I took loads of damage.
Yeah.
If you can't just storm in on any of the targets, because you'll get hit. Get hit on the way there, hit on the way back. But it opens up a bit more into the type of game and the way it wants you to play it. There's a very specific, it feels open. It feels like you can do it in any order that you want to do it in, which you can, but you are more rewarded by playing it in the chess-like way that they want you to do it, in picking things off, working out where the resources are. Which is why I said right at the beginning of this, it's not a shoot 'em up in the sense that I would normally call a shoot 'em up, that would have been popular as a shoot 'em up on the Mega Drive, like the Thunder Force 4s and that sort of thing. It really is. It is very much more tactical and slow. It is quite slow, which is why I understand why you're calling it boring. To me, I'd more call it slow. It's
all right. Maybe I shouldn't have called it that.
Well, no,
boring.
I get it. It is. I mean, it is a subjective thing, which is also what you just hinted at, that people will be screaming at us. But I would be screaming at us if I was listening, because I really liked this and did play it a lot back in the day. But playing it now, I like I just said, I agree with the whole patience thing. I don't want to play a tactical shooter like this with resource-based movement where you can't go out on much of a mission, particularly even by that second level. The amount of fuel dumps and things are so vastly reduced. But yes, you have more places you can go and set down, but that still doesn't give you fuel back necessarily.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, everything is easy with hindsight, and I wasn't there when they made it. And who knows the restrictions they had or why some of these decisions were made, etc., etc. But it just feels to me like if you'd just done a first level closer to a tutorial or something where you just had to go and destroy one base and you only had one weapon, and then you unlocked the other weapon, it would give you some kind of reward. It's kind of like okay, maybe the fuel is more sparse in level 2, but you've got the same weapons, you've got the same chopper, nothing's getting bigger, you're not rewarded with anything interesting. I mean, once you've picked up the guy, taking him back, oh, that was cool, that's it. You've done it once. What else is there to see? Is there perhaps there's more enemies? I don't know. But I feel like they just gave everything to you too quick. And if they drip fed that, you could have like eased yourself into it and like, oh yeah, I'm being rewarded. And you've got so you're only kind of, your progress is on completing those missions, but there's no, what are you building up for? What are you trying to unlock, or what are you trying to do? No improvement to the helicopter. But so it just didn't feel like there was going to be anything new to discover. It's just going to be the same thing. But then again, who knows? Maybe level 3 is completely different.
Yeah, maybe it is.
I
know that.
And everyone will tell us on YouTube or whatever. Hey guys,
I'm pretty sure in one of them you get out of the helicopter, you land, and I think you get out. But I don't know whether, I can't remember whether that's the first one or whether that's Jungle Strike.
Oh, it's like a first-person shooter. Then it becomes like
I want to say that the other ones are better. It might well be that I actually played the other ones more.
I'll tell you what was better.
Oh God, what?
Airwolf. I didn't. Did you please? Did you like find yourself? I find myself smiling at the. Oh, that's well done. I like the animation. I like elements, but no kind of like, oh, this is fun gameplay. I mean, and did you feel like a sense of real? It's not like if you complete level 1 on Manic Miner, which I don't think you ever did. And if you had, you'd know what it is like to have a real sense of achievement.
Wow. You basically willy wanging. Look, I'm just pleased for you, Chris. You said you wanted to play a game that you could rage at. and you knew Sega would be the go-to platform, and here we are. That's pretty much word for word what you said.
Yeah, but it's not as ragey. Yeah, but then it's not as ragey as Shinobi or Ghouls and Ghosts and stuff.
You
need
it's funny,
something like that.
You like tactical games. Both of us like tactical games and mentioned them and have mentioned doing.
Well, no, in my imagination, I like them.
We both like Chaos and thingy Laser Squad, Raiders or whatever it is.
Brilliant games.
Like those. I still play Chaos. I mean, when we come to do Chaos, I'll have to admit that I play it regularly. It's not a game that I haven't played for a long time, like all the other games.
Well, they are good games.
But why this game is tactical in the same way that those are? It's not turn-based; it's action tactical.
No.
Why? Yeah, but why does this not work for you when those do? Aren't they similar?
Maybe because they're turn-based. No, they're not similar.
You don't think this is tactically similar?
No, I mean Laser Squad, or whatever. You're controlling a whole squad. Yeah. Different characters, different characters. You've got to leave some with Overwatch so that they can cover you as you move into space or whatever. It's a completely different thought process. This is not a simulator.
It is very much a simulator. This. They're often quite complicated. The simulator games. I can see why you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, your rendition of the music promised so much.
It was excitement, accurate, wasn't it?
That's perhaps the thing. Yeah. No, it was very accurate, and that's one thing I was surprised at. Because I thought you were just ad-libbing it. I thought you were just, and you got it quite right.
Yeah, it's good. I'm like that thingy Winslow bloke from Police Academy.
No, you are nowhere near as good as me. I mean, just check this out. Wicka, wicka, wicka.
Whatever his name is. I'm saying, my mouth sounds just like a guitar. It really does.
So, do you have anything else to say about the game in its defense or in its...
I think only what I just sort of said is that I will have to now play the other ones to see whether secretly it was urban style. I seem to remember one where you're, I think, either defending or attacking the White House or something like that in one of them. And I think the series gets better. I think you may find that it might be worth you looking at the other ones. I think it's a shame to dismiss this game entirely.
Not many. I mean, there's only the Horus trilogy got better.
No, I don't have much else to say about it. To reiterate.
You found it boring, right?
You said, yeah, it is a bit. It's worse. Like I said, it's fetch questy. It's just you do this, you go there, you go there, you go there, you go there. It's a never-ending. Oh my god, I need more fuel. Oh my god, my shield. Oh, I've run out of ammo. It's too much constantly going to pick up stuff to continue the journey. It would be like an adventure game where you're continually having to. Oh, I need some food. Oh, constantly having to just to keep yourself going. Having to continually pick stuff up to keep the game going, which loses the excitement of what a shoot 'em up would normally give you. Normally, as you say, a shoot 'em up is about you improve, you get bigger weapons or whatever, but it lacks that drive, the impetus to sort of keep going, which is why, as I say, I stopped at level 2 but did save it because I could feel that I would come back to it, which I don't always say, but I don't feel the need to play it this minute. I'm not desperate to get to level 3, but I'm assuming at the end of level 3 is Big Bertha anyway, and I'll probably get stuck there, so I'll do that.
Are you desperate to play any games at the minute?
So what are we looking at next week?
Well, one that you will be desperate to play. Please try not to play it before.
Yeah, I know which one's coming, and that's going to be quite hard.
This one is a good one,
I'll
right?
try and keep my hands off my joystick.
And don't break any joysticks or keyboards.
Has anyone guessed what game it is? Just from that description.
Daley Thompson's Decathlon.
Daley Thompson's what? Decathlon. Be careful how you say that. Right. Yes. Yeah. The Waggle Fest that was Daley Thompson's Decathlon. Yes. Good old
was good.
Daley Thompson. Yeah, it was. It was brilliant. I don't even know why we're bothering to review it. Everyone knows it's good. It's going to be a boring podcast for everybody because we are just going to be going, hey, it was great. See you next week. We won't have any complaints. I mean, it is a good sports simulator. It simulates many sports, and I look forward to playing them. And I hope you will join us next time here on Spectrum Days. That was Desert Strike Return to the Gulf. I hope you all thoroughly enjoyed it as much as Chris Boring Head did. And join us next time for Daley Thompson Decathlon. Please do like and subscribe and all those other wonderful things. And maybe next week, will be the week that we hear John say his first words, goo goo gaga, or something like that, probably. See you then, folks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
You can email us at hello@spectrumdays.com, and you can contact us on Twitter @SpectrumDaysPod. And you can also find us on YouTube just by looking up Spectrum Days.